If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor look too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life for broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at the beginning, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are done, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 40 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to refine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will be free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you are the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instincts, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, opinion how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Especially welcome to our Raiders from Mikey Balls. Mikey Balls has been making it happen for us. And thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. If you haven't been here before, settle in. It can get good. It can also be boring. We'll decide. All right. So that out of the way. Again, thank you for the raid, Mikey Balls. Always good to have you in the chat. We can run down the people who are here, but man, what a list it is. So, I'm just going to say welcome to every single person. Also, thank you, Anson, for being the first in today. Usually, seriously, Shelby gets that. He must be asleep. Otherwise, he would have made it. I see Michelle, our resident DGen, is in the house. She is a mod. She does have the ability to time you out, so please be polite. But she's a good person, despite her degeneracy. So with all of this now said, there's it's been quite a week, guys, and I have not been really on my game. I felt like the past couple of shows, maybe I just made some bad decisions on which shows I went on and some of the humor I chose to use, but that's okay. Whatever. It's it's all good. Guys, you may notice after much prodding from my mods who have my best interests at heart, I have established a goal. Uh, basically, I think I set it at 10 super chats or something like that. If you donate over $20, I'm going to put your name in a hat. I'm going to send you some swag because that's that's the only way I can say thank you to you guys for throwing cash on the barrelhead, and we all like that. So that's great stuff. Good to see you out there. Generally specific, I caught a good bit of your show the other night on Sarah's channel. Hope you survived that. I did not stay long. I believe it was on a night that I tend not to be online very much. Mr. Mister. So it's an interesting thing. I'm going to start off with that in just a minute. So remind me if I don't come back to it immediately. Okay, after this little intro. What else is going on, guys? Guys, I'm going to be in New York City, actually, the next few days. I leave in the morning. I haven't been to the apartment in almost a year. I need to go there. My wife has, obviously, because the office is there, or her office is there, and so it's I tend not to go. Ticky Tack blowing it out with a $50. Listen to this, TTS.
Ticky Tack donated $50 super chat. How about a $50 to start the show off?
I thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. That's much appreciated. Thank you very much. Guys, round of applause for Ticky Tack. That was awesome. Thank you, sir. So where was I? Oh yeah, I'm going to be in New York for the next few days. I am taking my portable or travel kit with me, and I should be able to stream. I don't see why I shouldn't be able to. We will see how that works out for me. We'll see what I can make happen. I'm still blown away by the $50 donation. That's just amazing. So I don't know if I have time to stream. I'm going to try and keep to my normal schedule. However, it's tough when I'm traveling and I don't really know what I'm going to be doing there besides just hanging out. And, I don't get a whole lot of time in New York City, and I kind of want to see some of the liberal meltdown from afar. So I will I'll be out there. I'll be trying to get stuff done that way. And what else can I say? Man, I'm just blown away by that donation. Totally threw me off. Thank you, Ticky Tack. That's amazing. I'm going to move that down there. And let's get rid of that. Maybe not. Yeah, anyway. And so we'll see. We'll see how this goes. If I can, I will stream. If I can't stream, I get a couple of days off, and you guys don't have to see me for a couple of days. So that'll be cool for you guys, I guess. The meltdowns continue everywhere. What I think is interesting is there seems to be, for lack of a better word, there seems to be like a there seems to be a kind of a mania with the leftist streamers wanting to come into conservative spaces and kind of pick very specific arguments. Last night, for example, I had a I was having a pretty good stream, more or less, and I started to get into a really good discussion. It wasn't a debate; it was just a discussion with someone, and this guy named one of our known regular chatters, uh, some dude kept interrupting. I don't know, maybe he was drunk, maybe he had smoked a little too much pot, whatever it was. He just kept interrupting. I got really aggravated because first of all, I've been on stream for a while. Second, I don't like that. If we're gonna have a conversation, let's have a conversation. I don't like circus act shows, and I would just rather leave um, the um, the chat and just go do something else. Um, so basically I was like, you know what? I'm trying to have a conversation, can't do it. I'm out. It's late anyway. Um, we did actually call him out pretty hard last night, and I told him that his cars weren't worth that much. I gave him the fair market value of the cars. He was acting like he was, you know, more well off than he actually is. The But nothing that he really had is a big deal. Sorry to tell him that, but that is exactly what it is. And so I didn't get to really finish that conversation. I really actually hope that fellow Kilo Tonics or whatever his name was, I really hope he drops by today or sometime in the future. I'd really like to finish the conversation with him. And Mr. Boulay, I have to respond to this. Let me respond to this. So we were actually having good discussions for the most part last night, and it was really um, it it was really good. And then for whatever reason, Glenn let some dude up. Which, you know what, when you're having a raucous stream and you guys are just having a bunch of fun and the whole thing, whatever, it's cool. Bring him up, let him ramble and talk about non-essential bullshit. But when when we're trying to have a serious discussion, we're talking about actual issues, and we're trying to do things in a way that is what I would say, or I would say, is you know, I would say is a what's the word I'm looking for here? I would say it's just he just wasn't being he really wasn't being a good dude about it, I guess. And so I don't know, man. I thought it was really poor form. I thought it was really pretty pretty bad, and I didn't like it. So I was just like, you know what? I want to have a real conversation, and it was tired anyway. I was late, and it was time to go. Um, so I did come back. I got a message saying, "Hey, there, we're kind of still going," and I guess some dude had left or whatever. And so it was actually started out having a pretty productive conversation, but um, the leftist that was there, um, he likes to have these debates, and I'm using air quotes there because when we're having a discussion, not really a debate. If you want to have a debate, then we set up a debate. We have a moderator. We have predefined. Often we have predefined definitions of what things are, so we can agree on them, and we don't chase our ass around all the time trying to figure things out. And for the most part, it should be fairly straightforward. Unfortunately, that's actually not the case with what this fellow does. He comes in, he has an agenda that he sticks to, and you'd like to be a mod? I can fix that. Hang on one sec. Who said that? Who said they'd like to be a mod? There, you're a mod. But oh, you meant in a debate. I'm sorry. I thought you just meant here. Whatever. Yeah, there was not. I tried asking him to unpack his points. I tried to get him to define his position. What he wants to do is he has a predetermined. He has a predetermined line, right? Because he has this one piece of proof, and to him, that proof is absolutely. Oh, thank you, TR Finley, for becoming a member. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. When you and this is a disingenuous way of arguing, right? Because it doesn't matter what he has a predetermined piece of evidence that he's going to stick to, and no matter what you say, he doesn't move off of it. If you say, for example, as I accurately did, well, alternate electors is a thing, it is a legal thing to do in specific cases. And he didn't accept that. He didn't want to accept it because, and he couldn't accept it because once you do that, then the case starts falling apart. The second thing was the whole thing about Pence violating something, an additional violation. And I pointed this out. Maybe I didn't point it out strongly enough because I was treating it very casually. Yeah, alternate electors are there for a reason. It is legal. Now, there is a reason some are getting prosecuted and others are not. And we never got into that because he wouldn't admit that alternate electors are legal. You have to admit, if you're going to be in a debate, first of all, you have to be willing to concede correct points. If all you do is say, I'm accurate and you're wrong, you're not going to get anywhere. Which is why I could concede that some of the electors did have bad paperwork. However, their paperwork was signed by legislators. That is a sticky issue that they still haven't unraveled, and it's still in court 4 years later because they were signed by legislators. So you can't, you got to give and take, and he never wants to give and take, and that's fine. There are a lot of people who, this is the DGG method of debate, right? They stick to one point, one piece of documentation that they have. Now, the thing with Pence and his violations has nothing to do with a legal violation because it was within Pence's authority to adjourn for 10 days. He could have done that. There's nothing illegal about that. There's nothing wrong about that. At best, it would have been simply an irregularity, but it was a very irregular case. And in the interest of justice, it should have happened, right? It ought to have happened. And if you're going to make a claim, I'm going to make the ought claim back that it ought to have happened in the interest of justice if we truly seek justice. I always read Eastman's email as being a violation of Pence's ethics because Pence has always been known as a very ethical, moral person, and it would be very difficult. It would be an ethical question for him to act within his power, even if it's legal or kind of close to legal, right? Like it's one of these. It's on the edge of being illegal, right? Like, yeah, I can adjourn, but should I? And this was the question that Pence had to ask himself. and the left never actually affirms. They never affirm the fact that it is, that these are real things. And so it's very difficult for me to take these people seriously. My guess is that Nanfan is a DGGer, and he has their playbook, and he just goes right down the playbook, and he cannot actually debate for himself. And that's unfortunate, but that's okay. Right. Yeah. Demolished doctrine. This is actually a good point. I do believe that it is simply a way to effectively and efficiently tabulate the results and has no bearing on anything. And again, the thing about the Electoral College Act is that it's a set of procedures. It's not law. I mean, if it's not, you can't be prosecuted. Pence could not have been prosecuted and never would be prosecuted for delaying for 10 for 10 days, right? There's nothing illegal about that. Is it ethical? That's the question, is if it's ethical, which is why, by the way, no one has been or will be charged with a violation of the Electoral College Act. And we all know this, but you, and look, I'm not trying to pick apart I am picking apart his debate, his structure, but I'm not trying to really pick apart. I'm using this as an example. I'm not picking on the guy. I'm really not I don't believe that he in and of himself is disingenuous. I just think that his technique is not going to get him very far in the debate world. And the debate world, you won't be able to do that. You want him to get more popular so Andrew can go at him. Yeah, okay, that's fair. And I had to make him slow down. So he did he again, I believe he's a DGGer. He did the Destiny thing of trying to run to motor mouth and just spew a bunch of words at me and not actually give me a point. And so I had to reel him back. I had to say, no, you can't do that. And I'm going to do that in every occasion. But the real point is there's no logic to his argument. There's no reason to his argument. His argument is simply Trump bad. As far as internet issues, GS, I the other day found that I had accidentally unplugged the splitter from my cable setup for mine, and I was lagging out, but that was my fault. I have not experienced an actual lag where I'm at or anything like that. Yeah, they come up in our dojo. Yeah, it's funny. Look, I just don't know. This is not a way to win debate. Look, if you want to learn how to debate, go take Andrew's course. If you want to understand the reality of what actually wins a debate, watch Andrew or watch Scott from Fabian Liberty. Watch some of the debates from the Crucible from a year and a half or 2 years ago before Andrew got big. Watch what they were doing with the debates. Andrew is a hell of a moderator, and I encourage you to go watch those debates. They are wonderful. And yes, you're correct. He did attempt to gish gallop, and I base it. And look, this isn't going to work with me. Okay. Again, I keep telling people, just because I do not debate often doesn't mean I can't do it, doesn't mean I can't win at it, and doesn't mean that people should attempt to debate me thinking they're going to run over me. Because I honestly don't care what information you bring. You can bring any piece of paper. You could bring a written confession from Donald J. Trump himself, And I would call it into question and say, I don't care about the document. I only care about how well you're going to be able to present your argument. And if your best argument is, look at the paper, though, you lose. Okay. It's as simple as that. I mean, you cannot appeal to authority because I'm simply not going to acknowledge your authority. And I'm going to make the very, very based claim that your appeal to authority is amateurish and you should not be debating. So that's it. Frank Black, I have 2 Porsches if we want to be accurate, but so it's not Porscheless, it's Porsche. But I don't talk about that. I have a 911 race car that's in pieces, and I have a Cayenne. Big deal. It's not a big deal. So yeah. So if you diverge from the talking point, this is what happens, right? You can't. They just won't do that. And I didn't really mean to get into I didn't really mean to go down the rabbit hole of debating, but it's disingenuous to say that. All right, so let me put this straight. If I call Richard to the stage right now, Demolish Doctrine, and he and I have a 30 or 40-minute discussion about religion, kids in school, whatever. That's not a debate. That's a discussion between 2 people there's no moderator involved. We haven't outlined either side of us have not outlined arguments. We've not agreed on any predefined terms, and we're just having a discussion. And it's not a debate. A debate has structure. A debate has rules. And just to say I had a debate is irrelevant. It just doesn't matter. So it's just not the way it's done. And he would never go out and say, Grid One and I had a debate on religion and I thrashed him. No, he would say, Grid One and I had a great discussion on religion and children in school and whatever, and it was very good. And that's a fair thing to say. So I feel like that. I feel like that a lot of the leftists, and this is all going somewhere. I'm sorry, I am dragging this out a little bit. This is all going somewhere. It's not if it's not a debate, it's just a discussion. Leftists coming into conservative spaces and trying to claim victory through debate when they're not debating, when it's a discussion. First of all, that's pathetic. And second, it's at best disingenuous and really probably just fucked up. I see Sarah, the Raging Tomato, is in the chat. You're welcome to come up if you would like, and we can have a good show. It will be probably better since you won't be sauced. I don't know if anyone caught the last time the tomato was on, but she got quite sauced, and it was very funny. So, yeah. You're in the office right now? Well, that's fine. Somebody else will come up. So actually, to be honest with you, effing epic, that's not been my experience. My experience working with Porsche owners since about a long time ago. Probably 1997, I would guess. 96, somewhere along in there. Honestly, the people I worked with were the greatest people on the planet. They were super nice. They were willing to talk and share not just ideas, but you know, how to succeed in life. They were willing and very capable of being great people. Especially the vintage guys. The vintage guys were, you know, really they were really good people. Now I don't that could have changed. I doubt it has. For the most part, I prefer Porsche owners over BMW owners any day of the week. So you know, it's that's just my experience. Now, I will admit that I worked in rarefied air. I understand. The interesting thing about the average Porsche owner versus the average anything else owner is the average Porsche owner really knows everything there is to know about their car, and they probably know more about it than you do. And and so to argue with one is kind of an exercise in futility. Apparently, I turned the light down too much. It doesn't like that. Let me turn it back up. There we go. It's got to track my eyes. It is what it is. Anyway, the Panamera. The Panamera is a great vehicle. I don't know if I'd buy one in the used market right now. They're very. I mean, my personal opinion is they're great cars, but that's my personal opinion. So, the Panamera Turbo S is amazing for how big it is. It's just an amazing car. Why is this having so much trouble focusing today? Is the hat? It's probably the hat. Here, I'll do this. Give it more forehead to look at. There we go. All right. I saw that generally specific. I saw you post a picture of it. An interesting thing about like my Cayenne, we did I think it's got 260,000 miles on it. We've never really done anything but oil changes and some minor maintenance. Nothing like super huge. So yeah. All right. Okay, guys. So let's actually get into the real topic today. So the leftists have decided, for whatever reason, it's a divide and conquer. It seems like, on the one hand, the larger, more well-known streamers seem to be oddly silent. I'm not sure if Destiny's really had a lot to say the last couple of days. Pisco, I think, has been fairly silent. I think that he released some like short video basically saying the world is fucked. It's all your fault. And so on and so forth. So it's interesting how quiet the large scale streamers are being, while the smaller streamers are really active right now. I mean, really active, like ridiculously so. And I have to say, that's funny. That's funny. That's good. That's really good. I like that a lot. That's pretty funny. That's hilarious. He could very well be in a mental hospital. That's probably a legit thing. I think the smaller streamers are kind of lashing out. The larger streamers are kind of trying to figure out what their next move is. That's my theory. Michelle says the algorithm really had them believing we were all on the same page. They got the rudest of wake-up calls. Yes, that's probably true. Yeah. Yeah, so that generally specific, I think that there's something to that. I'm not really. I mean, the calls to violence is always an interesting thing. And of course, I'm about to go. Where they're actually like they kind of actually are calling for violence and stuff. So that's going to be interesting. Um, so, what do you guys feel like? And this is just a question to basically anyone. What do you guys feel like is the um, for lack of a better word, the next evolution for the Dems, right? Like who have they got in their um, who have they got in their stable? What do you think their next move is? What do you think the um, what do you think their next tactic is going to be to ruin our day? I have a couple of theories about this, and I can't wait to hear yours. Yeah, so Newsom's a problem, Frank Black, because Newsom has Newsom's a Newsom has a problem because um, he has a he's got some serious issues with that train to nowhere in California that he built. If you're not aware of it, he's already been charged once. He narrowly escaped. I mean, narrowly escaped being um, put in jail, basically. And he's, I mean, it's going to be rough going forward. It's what am I looking for here? So Newsom's a special issue. I don't think he can run, but he can distract. I think the next thing you're going to see is you're going to see um, booty juice, and it's going to be a female. Probably not camel toe. It'll be somebody else. The it's I think they're really I think they're kind of lost a little bit because they can't talk about Trump being the um, they can't talk about Trump being the bad guy anymore. So now they're going to have to talk about um, they're going to have to talk about Vance, but Vance may not be the candidate. So who do they turn into the beast that lives under our bed? That I don't know. I think that's very interesting. I think it's a um, I don't know. I just think it's really an interesting deal. The Buttigieg Cortez. So Booty Juice and Cortez. That's a good one. That's all right. Effing epic. Yeah. Um, yeah. They can still talk about Trump the narratives. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. I think this is a pretty good observation. They've dug really deep for a long time, and especially with all of the trends and all of that stuff. I think they may have gone a little too deep. I think they probably have hit the vein on that one, and it's going to bite them in the it's going to bite them in the rear. Guys, I'm going to just take a minute here to remind you guys there is a 10 um, what is I believe it is a 10 donation goal for the I think it's for the first hour. That's if you for any donations over $20, I'm going to enter you into a raffle for some swag. Currently, our man Tiki Tack is leading that resoundingly with a $50 donation. So if you have a few bucks to throw in the pot, please do so. Mr. Boulay comes. So we'll hit.
Mr. Boulay and the Department of Numismatics donated $20, Super Chat. Lloyd Austin memo today. Pentagon committed to orderly transition for Trump, military stand ready to carry out policies of next CMMDR-in-chief, obey all lawful orders.
All lawful orders from civilian chain of command. He had to issue a memo. Really? Yes, because if you just look at the current leaders, they're all of a specific type. So that's interesting. I really do. I do appreciate the super chat, Mr. Boulay. For some reason, the TTS will only read up to 200 letters or 200 characters, and for whatever reason, the super chat will let you do more than 200 characters, and that's why it doesn't always read the whole thing. If you're particularly wordy, it just reads up until it doesn't read anymore, and then that's it. So, and I've got to figure out how to shorten that. So, yeah. All right. Thanks again for the super chat. That's 2 people to enter into the drawing for a swag bag, which will consist of some cool stuff. So, yeah. All right. There we go for everyone to see. Excellent. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Boulay. I do believe that they're going to focus on flipping states. I also think that they're going to be another super chat coming in and another TPS.
Epic donated $20, Super Chat. For the declaration of a new holiday, post-Trump Day.
Trump Day! All right. Hey, I appreciate it, effing Epic. 3 entered into the drawing. How good is that? So that's awesome. That's very cool. When we talk about this, guys and girls, we really have to be careful, because I do think the Dems are in a really kind of wild place right now, and I'm not really sure what they're, how unhinged they can become. I think though it's going to be an orderly transition. There's been a lot of talk, and I would love to hear some responses. Tiki Tack, you're welcome to come up and debate this with me. Oh, Generally Specific has sent in a super chat. Here we go for the TPS.
Generally Specific donated $20, Super Chat. If you don't support what you like, it goes away. I predict the left will start to return to classic liberal ideologies, as the woke tract is destroying their credibility.
That was weird that I had the echo, but I really appreciate that. I'm going to re-trigger that just to not have see if we can get rid of that echo. There we go.
Generally Specific donated $20, Super Chat. If you don't support what you like, it goes away. I predict the left will start to return to classic liberal ideologies, as the woke tract is destroying their credibility.
Not really sure why that one echoed and the others did not. Very odd. That's okay. Things happen sometimes. Seriously, Shelby, welcome to the chat. So, coming back at it, at the end of the day, I feel like that there's a what's the right word I'm looking for? This is a great opportunity for a lot of rebuilding to be done. So pre-election, we were all talking about what would happen if Trump got elected, as far as all of the court cases, all of the various issues or lawfare that were going forward with Trump. Now, obviously, one of the ones were what we discussed last night, which is the Jack Smith case in federal court with all of the fraud and blah blah blah, the stuff that they couldn't prove. It took them 4 years to even bring the case, and it's not it's not a it's not a huge thing, right? It's a that's actually gone away. So I don't believe that's going to go anywhere. We do have the sentencing coming up in 2 weeks or a week and a half now. I think that is that's going to be really tough, guys. It's going to be tough for New York, because if they go hard on Trump, and of course, all of this is being appealed. The appeals court is all over this. It could get it's probably going to get reversed, so it doesn't really matter what sentencing happens to be. Nothing the Dems could do really there's nothing about it. I would guess that within the next 5 to 7 days, we're going to see that just kind of go away. They're going to vacate it in some form or fashion. The thing down in Georgia, I feel like that I feel like that there's going to be, I feel like that I feel like Trump's not going to want to let that one go, because the further it goes, the closer they get to eliminating a corrupt district attorney in Fani Willis. And I don't know that he would let that go, although there may be enough evidence to get rid of her as it is. I know that there are other cases that they've found irregularities in. So I think the DNC is going to back way down. I don't think it does them any good, especially with the massive rejection of everything that the DNC has been doing, as shown by losing the presidency, the House, and the Senate in a fell swoop. 321 electoral votes is just crazy for Trump, right? Like, now remember, people were wondering if he was even going to win. They thought everyone, even right wingers, were calling for a very close race. And it wasn't close at all. It was a complete blowout, and in all respects. And so I think the DNC, if they're smart, I think they're going to let everything calm down. 6 months from now, we'll see them start back up with something. And I don't really feel like that we're going to get back. I don't feel like that. I feel like the next 3 years should be relatively smooth. They know he can't run again. I think they will start looking for stuff for to use against Vance if they take him seriously as the next candidate. We'll see how that goes. Politically, I think the DNC came off looking really, really bad. And I think that that's part of the problem they have. I think that it's part of a problem they've had for some time. And that problem is that they keep going really, really hard for no really good reason. Right. I don't know, Richard. Somebody in the chat will know. It was 321 to 220 something, I think. Somebody will know off the top of their. I mean, somebody will have it at hand. But I believe it was 220. I think to 321. It was 40. No, it was 4 million votes difference plus total, which is amazing in the popular vote. Generically, Republicans do not do that well in the popular vote. It was very crazy to watch that happen. So that was interesting. Um, but yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Um, and I, again, guys, to Angel Berber's point, which why I put it up here, if they go hard after Trump now, after winning the popular vote and winning a landslide electoral um, victory, they would doom themselves from winning on the national stage for many years. I agree with that. I really think that that's what they see, that we see, that everyone sees that, and I feel like that we've got to we have to now move forward, and that's kind of why I started. I told you I was going to wrap all this together. One of the reasons I started with the way that these leftists, admittedly, they're kind of new to streaming. They're probably new to debating. They probably don't really have any actual background in much of anything. So we'll grant that, but they're coming in thinking that they need to go hard and that sort of thing, and I think that's wrong. And I feel like that what we're going to end up seeing is more harm than good, than from the rank and file Democrats. I think that um, the DNC, more or less, just kind of want to just move forward, and they're not allowing that to happen. I feel like that the more experienced streamers, the larger leftists are basically being very quiet, and are trying to figure out what way to go forward that looks like that we're all working together. I think that that's a big thing for them. I think they really want this picture of working together. We cannot lose vigilance. You cannot get pulled into that sense of solace, of comfort, because they will use it to bludgeon you about the head. So don't do that. We have to while we must maintain, obviously, a sense of awareness. At the same time, we must extend that hand to the people who, at least even sort of mean to try to pull themselves into the um, into the to the more even just more center. And we need to have great conversations, great levels of discord, and great debate to bring the leftist into the light, not push them into the darkness. And this is one of the things that, and again, I told you I'd loop it all together, and here we go. Much like when we're dealing with sinners in any sort of religion, in any sort of church situation, when we're dealing with sinners, we can't hate them for their sinning. We can hate the sin, we love the sinner, and we have to, at this point, we have to look past the sense of revulsion and the sense of disgust that we have at these people who have told us for the past 6 years that we're horrible, we're garbage, we're deplorable, we are all of these things. We have to be the bigger men. You have to be men and go forth and show how truly great and magnanimous the right is. We're not the party of hate. We've never have been, and we cannot be now. We cannot be portrayed as the party of hate. The Democrats are the party of hate. They are the party that riot. They are the party that will never forget anything that you do. They will never allow you to forget that you made a mistake, and that's wrong, and it is wrong, and we don't deserve that. But you have to, as men of God, hopefully, or just men, just be a man. Set it aside when you can. I'm not saying be a punk. I'm not saying get taken advantage of. I'm saying that there's no point in arguing whether Trump should or should not have been tried for something. That's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you think of his character. He is currently president. Okay? So don't engage on these subjects. If they want to engage, we can engage on policy. We can engage on what we each think America benefits from, what will make America great, what will keep us great. Why is it that you think that we should send money to Ukraine? Why is it that you think we should support someone who is essentially a criminal who picked a fight with a nation, a nuclear power, and then ran to the great United States for money and aid and has gotten it in spades? Why do you think that's okay? These are the conversations that we can have. We should not entertain conversations about, well, so-and-so said that Trump broke the law. Yeah, okay, great, man. If they prosecute him for it, awesome. If not, I don't have anything to say about it. I really don't care. He is currently the president. That's the end of it. If you want to talk about policy, great. Let's talk about policy. If you want to talk about why we believe what we believe and give you an opportunity to see it from my side, great. If you are irredeemable and you do not want to do any of these things, then have a great day, brother. I have better things to do than argue with rocks. Okay. GS is correct here. Telling a sodomite they're in danger of going to hell is just as important as telling a professing Christian that their sins, if left unrepentant, will likewise send them to hell. That's accurate. I tell people all the time they're going to hell. I tell Michelle quite often that she's probably going to hell, and that's okay. That's her choice. I do not dislike. I actually like Michelle. I like Michelle a lot. I disagree with her lifestyle. That's okay. That's her life. And we have a very healthy respect of boundaries there, I believe. Maybe. We'll see. Demolish Doctrine comes in with seize every growth opportunity, claim your own mistakes, speak truths and correct your own misgivings. Absolutely. Act as though everyone is your sister or brother. Help others accept the truth. That's a great way to look at it. I believe that is a great way to look at it. To withhold the truth is not an act of love. It is, in fact, an act of can be an act of violence to withhold truth. Charles Darwin, I'm not American, but even I understand that the first 4 years with him is a hell a lot better than the last 4. Okay. Meanwhile, yeah, okay. John Smith is out there encouraging hate and discontent by getting Starbucks employees to write. What was it you got on there? Trump won on his cup. Come on, man. You don't have to hurt him. It's okay. It's all right. Yeah, so right. Michelle says it's fine. I'm fine. Perfect. That's the way it should be. And but guys, seriously, I mean, I thought about it a lot last night because we are seeing an influx of left. So to be honest with you guys, I've always had a problem getting leftist or even degenerates to come on my show. Once they'll say yes initially, then they'll watch my show or they'll listen to something I said, and then they cancel. This has been the way it's been for a long time. I think I've had one leftist actually come on the show besides Process, and they really didn't do anything. So I personally, I want to encourage I'm encouraged by the fact that we are seeing more and more leftists come into our space. We just simply, and I can encourage everyone listening to this, it's not just an internet thing. You're going to see this in, we're going to see this in other aspects. That was weird. My camera decided to jack up. Oh, whatever. Odd. So I encourage you publicly, privately, online, in person. You're going to have leftists kind of emboldened to come and approach you. Now's when you need to be, now's when you really need to say, hey, guys, I understand your issue I understand your issues with Trump, but let's talk about policy. Let's talk about where we go from here. Let's move on, right? From the, and maybe I don't think that we can turn leftist into right wingers, but it does happen, and good conversations are why it happens. Your neighbor who is a Democrat out of convenience, understand it. I think most leftists are not true leftists. I think they're leftist out of convenience because they don't want to think. They don't want to listen to anything but what they see on the news. They don't search things out for themselves. So if let me rephrase, you may be the only voice of reason they hear in a world full of people lying to them every single day. And they deserve you being the best you can be, so that they get that answer. They get those answers. They get that truth from you. It's just the way it is. And it could be the leftist in your apartment complex that needs their car jumped off because they don't know how to use jumper cables. It could be, the leftist at work that just needs to hear the truth about the economy and why they're taxed so much and why McDonald's is almost $20 for a hamburger, fries, and a Coke. This is the time, guys. This is when it's the most important. This is the most important time. We have an opportunity. We have the truth on our side. If you don't take advantage of it, it's on us. It's on us. We can't blame Dems for being Dems, but we can blame us if we fail. Does this make sense? Call me out if I'm wrong. Feel free to scream and shout. I don't mind. Demolished Doctrine says, saw a lefty burn a hole through the hood by closing the hood onto the hot clamp while jumping off the vehicle. I have seen a very similar thing. That's a special time. That's a special thing to see. Tacticus is right. Let them see the economy heal. That's accurate. You have to, guys, we have to do this. If we don't do it, if we act like Democrats, if we rub their noses in it for the next 4 years, if all they hear from us is you suck, which they do, but if all they hear is we suck, then we are worse than they are. That's what it is. You don't know that you agree. Think the time to convince him is after Trump turns things around. Well, all right. So here's the thing. I agree, but you have to start today. They cannot hear you being negative. You can't beat them about the head like Democrats do us, right? And that's just the way of it. Now, I will go with a lot of the things that are being said. They are, they're leftist, and they they worship at the altar of communism. Sure, a lot of them really do. It's a, you really cannot. I cannot express to you how important it is, how truly important it is that we be better, that we do things better than they do. Because for the last 4 years, all they've done is go after their political enemies. They've lied. They've cheated. They've done horrible things in the name of making our lives better. We have to be better than that. We are better than that. This isn't even hard for us to do. We are better than that. So we just need to do it. And you need to go out and you need to be really positive influences in your neighborhoods, in your workplaces. And I'm not talking about just turning the other cheek, or look, I'm not going to tell you that you should. I'm not, look, I'm not telling you that I would go out of my way to. I'm not gonna look. Let me throw this out there. Not that this would happen because Destiny doesn't give a shit, but I would not fly down to Florida, meet up with Destiny, and try and talk to him for 3 hours about, coming over, leaving the dark side. That, first of all, it'd be a waste of time. Second, why would I'm not going to go out of my way. But, and I don't have any leftists in my neighborhood, so that's tough for me. But as I come in contact with leftists, I can show them that we are better people. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you guys got to go. I'm not saying you guys have to. I'm not saying you have to. Matter of fact, I gotta hang on. Something just came across. Here we go. Anson Knowles. I'll answer this in a second. I'm not saying that you have to go out of your way. I'm saying that we are better people and we need to act like better people. You do not grind them under your boot heel like they tried to do to us. That's what I'm saying. Stop with this reach across aisle nonsense. There's only one way to cure a commie. That's arguably true. The right reaches across the aisle and the leftist gives us the reach around. I mean, you're not terribly wrong. Not terribly wrong. So, but yeah, like I'm not talking about, like I said, don't go out of your way. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way, but I'm not going to grind them under my boot heel. I'm just not. And I will try and engage, and to all of the leftists I come into contact with, I will try and have, genuine open discourse with. Again, look, if they're being dickheads, fuck them. Who cares? But, you know, right. And when you have a conversation, then the conversation should not be, ah, ha, ha, we won. Trump beat your ass. Now we're going to go after everybody. You know, Kamala's going to jail and all that. It should be, hey, man, the election was great that it was, you know, fair and there were no issues. And, you know, we seem to have gotten past the whole, you know, we got past the whole stolen election thing. Let's, you know, let's talk about actual policy. Talk about actual. All right. So you don't like, you know, what do you not like about Trump's policy? Okay, let's talk about that. And you know, and if you're not able or capable to talk about it, then just say, hey, man, I just think Trump's policies are really doing really well for us. I got more money in my pocket. I hope you're doing better, and just leave it at that. Know your limits, man. Know your limits. You're not going to convert people, but often, but it does happen. There are, look, I'm going to agree with you. A hardline radical, you're not going to be able to convert. However, people leave the left all the time because, not because that somebody like beats them about the head with the truth. It's because they see it over and over and over. And definitely don't hug it out. There's no hugging. There's no hugging. There's no hugging. Don't do that. So let me see what we got here. We're not hugging it out. There's no hugging. Angel Berber says he agrees with the premise. However, there's a balance. Yes, absolutely. There's a balance. I wouldn't be, if I were in California, I don't know that there's a, I would say that you would have to be very careful about who you even talk to. Rules for radicals: use your opponent's virtue as a cudgel against them, while you yourself do not ascribe to the values. That is true. That's absolutely true. And Alinsky was very, very good at using that too, by the way. You can't convert radicalized lefties. That's absolutely true. Don't worry about, just don't worry about radicals. I mean, radicals are lost. They're not, like, that'd be like trying to convert Destiny to the light. You're not going to do it. Do they know what Austrian economics for? No, they don't. They really, and that's the interesting thing, is they really don't understand anything. Need a little pushback. No, I don't really. And I'm not, and there's no hugging it out. No hugging out. They just spent 8 years trying to imprison Trump. It's no longer a civil society. They wreck that and don't deserve respect. Anson, I do agree with that. I do agree with that. I lost my place. Sorry. Give me 1 sec. I gotta. Yeah, you can come up. Generally specific. If anyone else wants to come up, John Smith or any of you guys, yeah, we can. Yeah, we're far enough along. We can open it up. We normally I'd wait about another 10 minutes or so, but that's okay. Mr. Boulay, hugging is a man card violation. It is a man card violation. Do not. There's no hugging it out. No. Hello, Shazzy Bear. How are you? How are you today, Shazzy Bear? We got to get my mods on the grift thing that I got going on. Yeah. TR Finley. So I think the election was fair. I think that the reality is that without the without everyone locked down and scared and concentrating more on COVID than they were the election, there was no way for the election to be cheated. They did try in the midterms in Georgia, Vermont, and Virginia to cheat the election, and they failed miserably. They did. There was a normal amount of cheating, and that's it. The Briar Wolf. No man hug. Sorry. All right. Actually, I'm going to get a man. That's going to be the first hat. The first hat that I have made, I actually have to talk to that guy later today. The first hat that'll be made will be the man card hat. If you're not familiar with that, let me see if I can. Let's see if we. Oh, that's not it. Let's see. How do I don't know. It doesn't matter. Oh, I know. I got to do this. So that'll be. I'm going to put that on a hat, probably in a burned leather, or so that'll be a great hat to have. I will we'll make that one the first one, and I will be giving those away to. I will be giving those away to the winners of today's deal. We haven't quite hit the 10 dono chat thing. Let's see where we're at with our goal. Our 10 super chats. Let's see. Yeah, well. And I don't know why it didn't do that earlier. It's all right. I'll deal with it later. If I lose all 5 in one day, don't talk to me. Okay. Kitchen pass. There's no kitchen pass. Michelle wants one. All right. I'll get those. I'll talk. I have to talk to that guy today. So we will. We'll get that. We'll get that set for you. All right. So, all right, cool guys. Hey, it's so far it's been a really good show today. And I think I basically led everyone kind of to where I wanted to lead them to. We'll get some people up here in a couple of minutes, and we'll have just a quick panel. Michelle, if you would like to come up, I know you're on mod duty, but you can multitask. The Raging Tomato is not in the do a burnt leather with a 5-patch wax hat. So I'll look into that. I think the hat. See, I'll have to look and see what hats he has available. But that's a pretty good idea. So yeah. I'll get the man card hats out. I will talk to that guy today, and I'll send him over the artwork. So yeah. So yeah, we'll get some people up here. We'll do some conversating. I want to thank everyone that sent in a super chat today. I somehow did not really get the goal set properly. I'm going to have to figure out how to do that, and I'll get the man card hat out. We're going to do the man card. We're going to do the Grid One logo that you see up in the corner. That's from that's from my race team back when I had it. We're going to do that hat as well, and then we'll do some others, some other cool stuff. And you're going to wear it. Well, okay, Michelle. Michelle's very excited about this. Anson Knowles is correct. The left isn't going to learn from their loss unless they learn how to crush free speech. They will continue to lose. They are working on that. John Smith comes in with he cannot hop on today because he's still working in and out of meetings, but he can support. I do appreciate your support, sir. I have been slacking on the support lately, but I'm trying to do better. I have promised my beloved wife that I will do better, and therefore I must do better. Gold man thongs, no. I think you have to get those from Glenn. I think Glenn's got those. So I am doing patches. I've got to get with Clover Tack on that. Challenge coin is possible as well. We're doing, I mean, I've got a list of things, guys. You know what I ought to do is I do have a website. What I'll do is while I'm in New York, assuming I have some time, I'll start putting some of this stuff up on the website. That way you guys can see it. And that way, you know, you won't, then you'll just be able to give me feedback on what is cool and what you think is not cool. Bobbleheads, I think, are hard. I'm not really sure how to get the bobbleheads done. I don't have a vendor for bobbleheads right now. I have a CloverTac has promised me the best vendor in the world for patches. We're going to do probably a litany of patches. We're going to do t-shirts. I have 4, maybe 5 designs. I have 2 out of the 5 pretty much finalized. The rest need to come together. I'm going to do girl shirts, which are the kind of the fitted female t-shirts. And I don't know what we're going to do with those. I think we're going to just put like copium or something on it. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we get there. And I'm going to do hoodies. And I might do, I really like really smooth.
Shazzy Bear donated £10, super chat. The right choice, crown.
Yeah. We're going to do the morale patches for sure. We've got, it'll take a second. It'll do the TTS, Michelle. It has to wait for chassis to clear out.
Michelle donated $19.99, super chat. I'm gonna sport the man card hat in my next AVI.
Neat. Do a short King's hat line for the vertically challenged. I don't know what that is, but I'll figure it out. All right. So GS, are you coming up? Who's coming up? Who's got the link and who's coming up? Yeah, that's on purpose. It's supposed to do that. Yeah. It's supposed to cut everybody's mics off, but it doesn't. I don't know why. Whoa, that's weird. That's very strange. What is going on? Well, this is no good. Well, this is no good. Lost my camera for a second. Let us see why that is. How very strange. Hey, generally specific, how are you? Oh, I gotta put you up there. That's my bad. There you are. Sorry about that. Well, we have a new donation. Another TTS.
Mr. Boulay and the Department of Numismatics donated $10 super chat. This intermission of An Unreasonable Man with Grid 1 Motorsports is sponsored by Tactical Soap, a Grondike soap company. Stay clean with the soap that cuts through feminism funk. Try
He uses too many letters. He overtypes. That's okay. Try Tactical Soap today. Right. It's just there's I haven't figured out how to set the cutoff for the letters yet. I will, but I have not as yet figured that out. So how are you, GS?
I'm okay. I think God has spoken. He wants you to repent for trying to cross the aisle with people that want to destroy the aisle.
Yeah,
no, I understand. I understand the premise of and the heart behind what you're saying, and I do overall agree with it. I myself had a very interesting conversation the day, about an hour before I went to vote, my wife and I, and with a gentleman on YouTube. I think his name is Daniel X100. Seemed to have a pretty large following. Oh, there you are. I can see you now.
Yeah, it's my other camera. I'm trying to get that. There we go.
There you go.
I just had to cycle cameras. That's all.
Gotcha. So, and I actually recorded the part, and he left me up there for about a good hour. So I understand your desire, your hunger, your thirst for being able to have a meaningful conversation with someone that might be ideologically divided from yours, in order to try to find some commonalities or some way to agree. Because I myself really had to put my pride aside, put my ego aside, put my I'm right, you're wrong aside, and really listen to the person, even when I knew what they were saying were just complete bullocks, absolute nonsense. And I was bringing up like labor statistic data, from his administration that just got replaced. And what's the word? A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You really can't get anywhere with it. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
well, I think, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I understand kind of like your viewpoint. And I would like to kind of get on a soapbox for a second.
Sure.
And because normally I'm right there where you're at. I'm like, hey, come on, let's find a way to get along. Let's find a way to, and when Trump won the first time, I loved what he said in his inaugural speech. I still remember bits of it where he talked about we need to find the things that we have in common. We need to look at that flag and basically it should mean something for all Americans, right? That should be a common rallying cry, basically, or a symbol. So my issue is when, I get tired of these politicians saying, I want to be a president for all Americans. Well, that's fine and dandy if you're acting like an American and not an insurgent communist trying to destroy capitalism and everything that made America great. Then I have a problem with that. I don't want to be friends with people that want to destroy me. I can pray for them. I can love them from a distance. If they hunger, I give them bread. If they're thirsty, I give them water. God will provide whatever judgment or vengeance is required. Exodus 14:14. I have nothing to do but to be silent, and God will fight my battles for me. These are all lessons that I think I'm still trying to learn. Sounds to me like you have learned. So,
Well, so one of the things that's been very difficult, and I've communicated this to many other channels. I've asked, like Joe Mobley, he cannot get a leftist on his channel at all to just talk to. He he can't, Glenn has trouble, right? And well, pretty much everybody, I think, has. Sarah doesn't, but Sarah straddles the line, so she's not really a confrontational, sort of channel. I mean, people will have confrontations on her channel, but she herself not particularly confrontational. So she doesn't seem to have too big an issue. But even then, it's kind of the same three or four, you know. And I've been wondering how to just how to do it. And so having the interactions over the past couple of days with these young men that have and there's been about three of them over the past week that we've that are new to our space. Like I don't know who they are. I don't know their background. I don't know. Their methodology, I think, is kind of flawed. But it's interesting because when I'm on panel with some people, they will literally just go hardcore, beat this guy about the head with knowledge, which I do actually support. But I think that if they're willing to come into our space, we need to be willing to try the gloved fist first. The fist is still there. We're not denying that there's a fist. Okay? We're not denying that it has to be our way, or you go to hell. But there's a there still needs to be the glove there, right? You can't just come out with the iron fist with no glove. If you do, what happens is those people who may otherwise move more centrist or even to the right, which would be ideal, won't. Worse is that even if you know they're not going to move, your interaction with that person, you never know who's watching, and the people watching who's on the fence may look at your interaction with that leftist and say, you know what? That leftist was a complete fucking tool. And the guy on the right, he tried to be fair. He was honest. He was on point. He didn't ad hom. All of the things, right? So you don't know. And again, I'm not really saying to bow down and get run over. Matter of fact, I'm saying the opposite of that. The steel fist has to still be there. Right? You have to be willing to lay waste to their worldview, which is what I like to do. I'm saying this because first my first impulse in every single case is to go scorched earth. My nature is to 100% choose violence above all. So I have to dial it back, and I've had to learn this over 50 fucking years. I know that my first instinct, the first thing I want to do, is just nuke it all and move on. Over the years, I've had to dial it back, and I found that first we try diplomacy. When diplomacy fails, then we nuke them. I don't really have an in between. I'm not that good a person, right? It's either we're going to have a pleasant conversation or I'm going to bludgeon you about the head with your idiocy. One of the two. And we've seen that in my interactions with most people. But my nature is always towards violence first. I have to hold myself to a higher standard. And all I'm asking is is for other people to understand that, yes, your first impulse is violence, and rightfully so, but at least try to do a little bit of diplomacy on the front end, front loaded in there.
Mm.
That way, nobody can then say that you came in and were the bad, and you were in bad faith, and you were the guy who was who was lying, and who was not, who was not letting people talk and things like that. That's all I'm saying, because we have an opportunity here, and I believe that there's so many people on the fence, on the edge, and those people won this election for us.
Mm.
Let's make no bones about it. I forget, it was 48 million or whatever it was people voted, and millions of those were people that are on the fence that looked at what the left has been doing and said, this is inexcusable.
Yeah, and that's to my point earlier where I don't think they're going to double and triple down on this woke ideology. I think they're going to slowly back away from it. They're going to allow these smaller personalities to run interference for them. That's why we're still seeing like these smaller podcasts, Instagram, TikTok. They're still spurging out like they're gonna, because they think that's still the marching orders. I find this very alarming, and not concerning, alarming. I'm not afraid. I'm not fearful. Sun Tzu says, when you are weak, you should appear strong. But when you're strong, you should appear weak. Go ahead if you need to do that.
We are not hugging it out. We're not. You guys can. I am not. I prefer violence, and I'm comfortable where I'm at.
Yeah. It's like I'm hugging you, but I'm hitting you kind of thing, family reunions.
If I'm hugging you, I'm really stabbing you in the back. I just wanted to let you know that's don't expect that. There's no kumbaya feelings here. I wish there were, but no, that's not it.
All right. Well, we took a vote and we said that you have to take the unreasonable man moniker off to puppy petting circle, kumbaya. We need to sit and sing.
No. We will not be doing that. We can do a lot of things. That's not on the list.
So the interesting thing for me here is that to finish that further point there, and feel free to interrupt me at any point in time. That's your show, obviously. Where I'm concerned is how calm and how peaceful they've walked away. It lets me think either something is in the works, something is under the calm, still pond that we cannot see, but its mass is quite large. I don't know if that's a disruption of the infrastructure, a disruption of communications. I just feel like they're up to something, and the something 2.0 is on the way. Any thoughts on that? Have you heard any rumblings or?
So, no, I haven't. And what I think is, first of all, I think they're in shock. I don't think they saw it going this way. Nobody, very few people. So I said that I thought it was going to go one of two ways. Either we were going to tank or we were going to walk away with this one. And I really felt like we were going to walk away with it. I said the day after the first assassination attempt that the election it might as well be over, because when Trump stood up with blood coming from his head, that decided all the undecideds immediately went to him. Like there was no pass go, no $200. It just immediately, they're Trump's dudes, because there's something about that, about about the guy who literally is shot at and gets back up and doesn't run away and doesn't bow down and doesn't and even better is he didn't get bitter. He didn't, there was no vengefulness. It was just we're gonna fight and we're gonna win. And that moment, I think, was probably when the election was won. I could be wrong about that. I don't think I am. But at that point, I thought we were going to eke it out, or maybe be a little bit better than eking it out, because I figured that we had most of the independents, and polling showed that independents by and large had moved to the Trump side, and so I was fairly confident, and obviously all of the economy stuff, all of the, and again, the independents, they don't care about your political opinion. All they care about is my wallet and how empty it is, right? And I just really feel like that I don't I think the Dems, I think the Dems were expecting this, and I mean, look, every single aspect of American society had every reason to hate the Democrats. Wall Street hated the financial policies that they were pushed into. Manufacturing hated the Democrat policies of all of this Green New Deal, green energy, all of this, all of the factories that were having to spend hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars to retrofit to achieve something that doesn't even take effect for 10 or 15 or 20 years. And yet today they're having to spend the money. Every section of society was touched. The only people that, if you asked a common man what he thought, it was, this is a fucking joke.
So to your point, Grid, about and some of the people in the chat are bringing up the finances, and I want to try to make sure I'm understanding. I think it was Tacticus, 1979 says, I think it's the economy grew to one, the buying power of the dollar period swung this thing. Now, in conjunction with, meaning it wasn't that the buying power was so strong. I don't think that's what he's representing. I think it has been weakened so much with inflation and all kinds of nonsense that people are getting tired of $150 getting them 2 small grocery bags when it would have filled a cart before.
Sure.
And so to that point, how much, like I remember about a year ago, there was some African leader was warning his people, if you have this, and he was showing American currency, get rid of it. This is not going to be fit to even wipe your butt with soon. And then
they say that every election cycle. They say it every few years. I mean, conspiracy theorists tend to go really weird. It was just like when the petrodollar, for some reason, they honestly think the petrodollar going away would hurt the U.S. And I don't think that it would. Because we don't actually deal with OPEC that much.
But to that point, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was my next step. See, you're right there, man. You're very intuitive. So BRICS. Now you say every 3 years they do this. Well, I don't know about you, but I've never heard of BRICS before. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China,
it's the same
Korea.
kind of thing as the same kind of things they said with Brexit. Right. Okay. When Britain was, it was the same thing when they launched the euro. When they launched the euro, it was the end of the U.S. currency.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, there's some logic there.
There was literally, everyone said that. You were probably deployed overseas at that point.
Yep.
When they launched the euro, and it was literally like, well, just throw away your dollars because everything's going to be euro, and that's going to be it. Now, the euro is, I personally think, artificially propped up. And we tend to operate on about it's $1.25 to $1.50 US to euro conversion.
Even right now with the way our economy is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, so I used to trade currency. That was one of the things I did in my spare time, was do Forex. And I love trading euro, Great British pound, and Japanese yen. I used to trade those 3 pairs. And so I don't know. So we can't go back to the gold standard. The gold standard, I don't think actually worked well. Who said that? Is that Mikey Balls? Yeah, it's Mikey Balls. All right, Mikey. So here's the thing. I don't actually believe that the gold standard worked that well. But it didn't work. It didn't work poorly. I don't think we could ever go back to the gold standard. I think that's a pie in the sky kind of thing that people talk about as a. I in general, when somebody says that we should return to the gold standard, I consider that person fairly either they deal in precious metals and that's what they want. It's not necessarily because they put an extensive amount of thought into how it would work out and how it would actually benefit us. But no, the return to a gold standard, I think, would be a mistake.
Point of order.
Yeah.
I'm so glad WMD put that up. I looked in your notes down below your stream because I was hoping to give you more of the money than to give you less of it. And so it would help people that want to donate if you could put that link down in the notes below.
So I normally I have a boilerplate description that I put in, but I was running late today.
Sure.
I didn't put it in. So.
That's
but
on,
you're
right?
right. You're right. It is way easier when you do that. WMD is the bot, so it spams it every 30 minutes.
I love it. I was like, "Who's that?" That's a clever name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thanks for having me up to chat about these things.
Oh, no worries.
And so here's the beauty of trying to to let's sit and reason together, right? And we've had this conversation before.
So we have. Can I? I want to answer Mikey Ball's question because this is really where we get to with people understanding money and the difference between what we're told and what the reality is. So what backs our currency is our work product, not gold. Okay. So gold in and of itself has some value. It's not useful. It's honestly not that useful for what we're trying to do with money. And Noah, it's useful if we wanted to have a very small economy, not useful if we want to have a large one. What backs our currency is basically work. Okay. When they print money ahead of demand, right? So now you have a lot of money, which makes your work worth less, or your work product worth less. So even though you can make $30 an hour, you may have actually had more buying power when you were making $15 an hour, right? Because the amount of currency in circulation, the amount of wealth in circulation. So it's an interesting. No, Mr. Boulay, please come up, please. Actually, he's very good at this because he deals in gold and rare metals. Yeah. So one of you're muted.
I'm gonna say I am glad he's going to come up because I do have a question, and I'm going to be as delicate as possible because I've already kind of apparently hurt somebody else's channel by spurging out with a word that I should have used. I could have used a different one, and I do apologize for that.
Right.
So
one of the things leftists like to say, right, is that why do we want to reduce our deficit beyond a certain point? Because that deficit is the credit we have in the world market. Why do we want to reduce the amount of credit that we have? And in theory, that's equal to our GDP. And so there's some other cool phrases they throw around, which really is fucking meaningless. Okay. In theory, what our government borrows money against the revenue that it anticipates receiving from bonds and other things that it sells. In theory, it should not be getting any revenue from taxes. Taxes are meant specifically to fund necessary projects, not to pay for a war in Ukraine. To do that, they have to borrow money from the federal bank, which is another issue. And that then they print money, which devalues our work product, right? The same as, yes, it's so you it's a very convoluted subject, but and the truth is that very few people can really track through all of it to say what is what and why, because they borrow from here, they pay back over here, they show a credit over here, and I mean, it's very interesting. But as far as our money goes, I expect to get X amount for my work product, and that's and I'm paid in paper money to do so, which is currency, and my currency is my work product. I is the best way I can put it. As far as BRICS affecting the U.S., I don't know that it really will, because, to be honest with you, we don't do that much trading with OPEC to begin with, and we can do far less. What makes our currency valuable is the fact that we are the nation that provides security for all shipping in the world. So without the U.S. Navy, whether they want to admit it or not, shipping would have a serious problem.
Okay, so the Chinese government making island chains in the South China Sea in order to be able to exert tariffs, or what do you call it, like a toll for anyone trying to travel through that. Is that continuing to go on, or has that been stalled or stymied?
I don't know. I think they well, first of all, they really can't do that, because they have a 12-mile limit, right?
From their mainland.
Okay. I don't believe that applies to atolls or islands, right? So you can't have an island chain and say, okay, it's 12 miles around this island, 12 miles around this island, 12 miles around that island. I don't know, but I don't think it's that big a deal. I will say that China has possibly the only navy that could rival the U.S. However, I don't think the Chinese, I don't think they really want a war.
Okay, so with Mr. Fancy Word, I've heard the term before. I had to look it up for those that are uninitiated and uneducated, like I just was until I look it up. An atoll, ATOLL, Mr. Harvard over here, is a ring-shaped island including a coral rim that encircles a lagoon. Okay, so picture that in your mind. All right, fancy guy.
Justin, Jack. What happens with island nations like the Philippines and Japan is they have an agreed upon international waters, if you will. So they've been basically surveyed, and they say, okay, this is what it is. And the smaller islands, I don't think get to be part of that, but it could be, because I know Hawaii is the same way. So yeah, that their ships are not nuclear. And so they have a fuel issue. So that's and Darwin's right. That's why they want to be in those islands. I don't know that it has anything to do with tolls. It's just it's a strategic issue that we would have if we were still using diesel ships.
So is Mr. Boulay coming up to answer?
I don't know. I was hoping he would.
Well,
he's very good with the precious metals and gold coins and all of that. I'm personally not a particular fan of the gold standard.
Okay, well, let me posit this, and maybe he can answer from the chat, because it's a classy chat, right? We're chat.
Yeah, okay.
So
we're classy.
So check it out. and I'm going to try to be as careful as possible in the off chance that you just said you're not really a big fan of the bullion and all that, the
Well, I'm
precious
not
metals.
I'm not a fan of trying to go back to the gold standard at this
Okay.
point, because there's no way really to equate everything. And I don't. There's some problems with the way gold is perceived in the world that I'm not going to bother to get into. But I'm not a particular precious metals fan.
Right. So I'm kind of I'm in the same boat with you. So maybe this will be a bit of a echo chamber, I guess. But maybe Mr. Boulay can respond from the Château. So my query is this: so you got Noble Gold and all these other, like, I see all these like podcasts out there with, like, 20, 30, 40K subs that are, out there pimping Noble Gold and all this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, if this is such a good investment, why would they let it go? Furthermore, it would and correct me if I'm wrong, it would stand to reason that if they are letting it go, that they're letting it go at such a marked up price that in order to get any kind of an investiture return on that ROI, that you'd probably have to wait for decades for it to eclipse that price, which means that there's a chance that someone that thought they were going to invest in this gold at such a high price, waiting around for it to reach fruition for an ROI, would then probably get a little needy and then have to sell it back for lower than what they even bought it for in some cases. So is that how the whole ebb and flow and how they make their money off of this? Is that possibly what the
Mr.
deal
Boulay
is?
will talk about how the people make money off gold. I believe that the only way to make money off of precious metals truly is to buy it and hold it for a very long time. And it'll go up and it'll go down and whatnot. But that's, but I'm not particularly a precious metals guy. I probably should own more than I do, but that's okay. What would I do to strengthen the American dollar besides dealing with BRICS? We don't have to deal with BRICS. What can we do with our own money to help? So our money is irrelevant. What is relevant is our amount of production.
Yep.
The problem that we really have in the United States is we like to think that we make very valuable things that the entire rest of the world wants. And to some degree, that's true. However, we have decided to offshore a lot of things. And when we do that, we lose our own production power. And we make more money when we're churning out, 300 cars a week at Ford and Chevy. And we make money when we're selling yachts to sultans in Dubai. We make money when Mercury engines are being put on every powerboat across the world. We make money when we produce things that other countries really want to buy. One of the things that's really fucked us lately is the fact that we're dealing far too much in intellectual property, which a lot of nations don't even recognize. Like you have to understand that just because here it's a big deal to us because we've decided that, other countries do not have those same. They don't have those same values. And so what's IP to us is just open source to them. They don't even understand the idea. They don't understand any of it. And they don't care, which is a more important point. So we are currently not making enough products that the world wants. Okay. The other problem that we have is, even though we are still the largest manufacturing company or country in the world, our exports have gone down. The way that we become the world's the way we became the world's currency is because we protected the shipping lanes, and we were, and to some degree still are, the only stable currency in the world.
That doesn't feel like that recently, though.
It doesn't feel like it, but it still is.
Yeah. I mean, comparatively, I would agree.
I mean, you look at any other country and literally Russia could literally change currency again next week. They could say, okay, all the current rubles you have are worth 10 cents, and we're issuing the new design rubles. They're red instead of green, or they're green instead of red, whatever I don't know what color rubles are right now, but we're reissuing, and that's it. The U.S. has never done that.
Well,
Since the end of the Civil War, we've not had a currency reissue like that.
So I'm glad you kind of brought that up, and if you'll allow me to, what's up, Mr. Boulay?
Mr. Boulay, I like that. That's great. You
Cheers.
will have to send me that.
A little dick insider.
Mikey Balls,
Howdy.
Mikey Balls, I think that most people should ask that specific question. Why is our money worth anything? And how can we make it worth more? The way that we make it worth more is by producing more. Yeah, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Mr. Boulay. How are you, sir? It's been a while.
Oh, hey. Mic check 1 2 Alpha Bravo.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay, cool. Hey, yeah, I would normally be on camera, but I got my work computer up, so you guys can't see.
That's okay. You're doing all that top secret cool stuff.
So yeah, it's the fall. We're going into cooler weather, so make sure you stop by Tactical Soap from Grown Egg Soap Company and pick up some Dickens Cider. Never leave home without
70, like 79 degrees. It was almost 80 degrees yesterday. I should not be worrying about ball sweat in November. Yeah, but I am.
Yep.
I know. It's like, what is it now?
Yeah, TTS coming in, now? Guys. Give me one moment.
Seriously, Shelby donated $10, super chat. Great to see Mr. Boulay on panel. Thank you, Grid One, for giving me an opportunity to be a mod for you.
Seriously, Shelby's turned out to be one of the better mods that we've had. I mean, we have excellent mods, so it's a narrow margin. But seriously, Shelby is a great mod, does a wonderful job. So, cheers to you. And that's not to take anything away from any other mod. Just he has done a great job. We have really excellent mods on this channel. So
yeah, Shelby's done a really great job. And real quick, congratulations to Shelby for his enlistment into the United States Navy. I think he said he's shipping. I'm not sure when he's shipping out. I think it's fairly soon. So congrats. Best wishes for boot camp over in Great Lakes. And thanks for signing up.
Yeah. So have you talked to Mr. Boulay before, Generally Specific?
I don't know if he's in the with Space Miner, or I think I've heard the name here, but are you familiar with a gentleman named Space Miner? He's in the metal thing too. New Mexico.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't.
So Mr. Boulay sent me. He was one of my probably first 10 guests or so, and he sent. I'm going to change cameras. Give me 1 second. Here, let me do this one, and I'm going to. And he sent me. Why is this not okay? And he sent me this. And I keep it on my desk all the time because this is pure silver, I think, 99.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pure silver, 2 ounce. It's from the Republic of Chad, Africa.
Yep.
But they started this whole series about firearms, and that revolver is the first in that coin series.
And it is cool.
Nice.
The detail is just amazing for like a mint piece. So
Yeah.
I had Space Miner sent me like osmodium. Are you familiar with that metal?
Mhm.
Yeah, he sent me I got a little vial of that. That was nice of him.
Yeah, I have 3 pure titanium coins, and they're all NASA themed. So yeah, you can get all. Yeah, I mean they're not really worth a whole lot, but it's the novelty of it being, titanium. So anyway, questions about precious metals. So where would you like to start?
well, I didn't actually have any questions about precious metals, but we were talking about. So the question is always brought up: would a return to the gold standard be in the best interest of the U.S.? And I always maintain that, in fact, it would not. But and you and I have had that discussion before, so you're uniquely qualified to come up and talk about it.
Well, as a collector and stacker of precious metals, the greedy part of me would say, yes, absolutely, we need the country back on the gold standard. That way, this 1 ounce 2022 Buffalo will be worth even more than what current spot price is. According to Mr. Boulay, there are 3 states of reality. There is possibility, probability, and delusionality. So
I like the last one.
Yep. So
I think
there's
I
always
there.
3 laws of thermodynamics, 3 laws of Newton, of course, the Holy Trinity, but we're not going to compare what I just said with the Trinity. Anyway, so countries such as the U.S., is it possible to go on the back on the gold standard? Sure. Why? My argument, Russia is back on the gold standard. Question answered. So that's possibility. Probability. What's the probability that we'll go back on the gold standard? Very low. And we'll go into that a little bit. The delusionality, if people in the precious metal community have this notion, oh, yeah, we need to go on the gold standard. That way my metals spot price will shoot to the moon. I can cash out. That's called delusionality. And that's one of the beefs I have with the precious metal community here on YouTube, is so many of them are pumpers and they want to exaggerate things to, FOMO, fear of missing out. So they target their audience with that, put the fear of God into them, say, hey, you need to buy silver and gold, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, learn about what you're doing here if you're going to get into this market. And by the way, I do have a small channel about this stuff. I'm trying to grow it. I need to make content. And if you want to get into this, reach out to me on Discord, and my email's on there and everything. So is it
it's actually a really good channel.
Is it feasible for the United States to go back on the gold standard? No. Why? We're too freaking big. There is not enough gold, physical gold, that the government has to back up our debt and all of our expenses currently. Ideally, we should have stayed on it, in my opinion, because that would have forced the government to only spend what they have. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, way back in the days, we were on the gold standard, and we, in a way, we should have stayed on it. But that's kind of a philosophical debate. So, short answer, no, it would not be feasible for the United States to go back on the gold standard.
Okay, so tinfoily hat kind of stuff. All right.
Yeah.
From what I understand, Gaddafi was trying to go back onto the gold standard. He ended up getting a bayonet in his rectum for his trouble. I think Hillary Clinton said, we came, we saw, and he's dead, and laughed and cackled like an evil witch. I think that was the quote.
Yeah. So one thing about going back on the gold standard that is really rarely talked about is that, the U.S. would then confiscate all gold again.
Yeah, exactly. They did it back in 1933 when President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, what was it? Executive Order 1628 or something like that. I don't remember the exact number. But yeah, in 1933, he issued an executive order confiscating all private citizens of their gold. There were exceptions, like there was like maybe collector pieces and stuff like that. But overall, the U.S. Mint was minting gold coins in various denominations. And so through his executive order, he said, nope, give me all your gold.
And in
my opinion, he used that to help fund the government with all the New Deal projects and all this jazz. And the tinfoil hat folks may make the argument that he was preparing for World War II, but that's another discussion for another day. So yes, is that a fear? Sure, possible or possible. Yeah, probability.
Pretty low. But that would, if we, again, if delusionality happened and we did go back on the gold standard, if two presidents from now, Vance Jr. or Don Jr. or whoever says, you know what, we need to get back to the 30s, and so we're going to go back on the gold standard. And so the very second announcement after that would be that privately owning gold is now a crime, and that you have to sell the government all of your gold at X price. And if you do not, you have X number of days, and then you would have to forfeit it. Right? Did I drop my mic volume?
Yeah, I don't know if it peaked.
It's just because I leaned back away from it.
It's good now.
So yeah, I leaned back. I was getting comfortable.
Yeah. I think that's the fear that folks in the precious metal community. Well, see, there's that. Like I said, you feel free to use my three laws of reality. So there is that delusionality over there. Is some of those folks, the real extreme tinfoil folks, they want it, not because the help budget, for the balance the budget and all this other stuff. They want to do it just so this little 1 ounce gold piece I got right here, they want to cash that out. Instead of spot price being $2,700 currently, I'm just rounding numbers, they want it to be $4,000 or $5,000 an ounce. And hello, that's delusionality.
I think it is, because what would happen is if we went back on the gold standard, the federal, well, first of all, we'd probably have to get rid of the federal bank, and it would have to just be at the mint again.
No. The confiscation in 1933, part of that executive order was the creation of the Federal Reserve. Go look it up.
Yeah. So at any rate,
not you, Greg, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I for some reason I thought the Federal Reserve had been implemented before the confiscation.
No, it was in the works, but it wasn't officially enacted until the 1933 executive order.
Yeah.
So much like the Titanic, it doesn't turn on a dime like a sports boat or a speedboat does. So the Federal Reserve was put into play, and allegedly, and here comes the tinfoil hat, allegedly there were some three very powerful voices that were opponents, not proponents, of the Federal Reserve being created, that were allegedly on the Titanic and never seen again, which is ironic because you think all the people of privilege would have been able to get a lifeboat position, but somehow they didn't make it. It's kind of interesting that something that's not federal, nor does it reserve a single thing, was allowed to happen. It took us into a very precarious situation, turned us into a corporation. We went from actually producing things that were of quality to producing things that would fall apart quickly, so that they would need to be replaced more quickly. We became product creators and product consumers. So we, in effect, have not only become the product of the government by being consumers. It's like a snake eating its own tail. I see that as a problem. I think I would much rather have a storage shelf, a standard silver, 3 or 4 tier storage shelf with canned goods on it that I preserve from a garden myself and pick eggs out of my chicken coop, than have a bar of gold sitting in front of me right now. Because when S hits the F, who are you going to give the gold bar to? You might be able to make a weapon and crack someone over the head with it, but
well, that's other
food.
That's a great subject for Mr. Boulay. He has actual solid advice on how to handle that.
You put the gold. Do you put the gold nugget in a sock and swing it around a few times and then crack someone? Is that?
No, you. So at least in the beginning of such a situation, it would still have value, actual value, right? And so you would, but it would be difficult for you to trade um, a single gold coin for whatever, right? Like that, like why are you going to do that? So in the olden days, the entire
Snippet. Yeah.
yeah, the entire industry was around cutting those coins into little pieces, and that's pieces of 8. That's what that came from.
Ooh, interesting. I didn't know that.
And so you would there's some silver, and I'm sure Boulet's busy at the moment, or he would have already chimed in. But there's
Oh, no,
some silver.
I'm here.
There's some silver things that you can currently buy. That's very easy to break off a piece if you wanted to say, if you were trading for a lot of canned goods or some ammunition or something like that in the immediateness of a fall. Obviously, those things tend to run out. Silver tends to run out of its value very quickly, or in gold too. But things like toilet paper, medical supplies, all that kind of thing are better than gold.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
And
the problem.
ammunition, right?
Especially the longer something lasts.
Yeah, if we're in a barter situation, first off, okay, having a big tube of gold and silver coins really isn't going to help you. That's where all your preps, and this is going to the far extreme of that. But yeah, you're not going to go down to your grocery store, flip out a 1 ounce, gold coin or a bunch of silver coins to expect to buy $200 of groceries. That's not going to work. Barter. You're going to be bartering instead. So the far extreme folks, I'm not completely on board with that. However, if you want to have stuff on hand just in case, then yeah, it's what we call fractional silver. And there's even fractional gold, like the gold that's minted by the mint comes in 4 weights: 1/10 ounce, 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce, and a full ounce. So what you could do is diversify a little bit and buy the different weights, different sizes, and they have different denominations behind them. Silver, you could probably do something similar. What you can do is get what's called constitutional silver, and what that is your dimes, quarters, and half dollars that were minted before on and before 1964. Everything, those denominations pre-64 are all 90% silver.
Interesting.
So people like to have a couple of tubes of old half dollars, like Franklin's or stuff like, and the Barber dimes, things like that. Have a couple of rolls of those, and you can use those for bartering. And that generally would probably be, I would argue, more useful, because at least it looks like money that we use today. They're coins.
And it's a lot more portable and not going to really
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What I brought on screen real quick, just to this is I actually got this earlier this year. This is a 1916 McKinley, and this is that little coin is only just over 2 grams of gold. But on the collector market, since this thing's rated MS64, so it means Mint State 64, and it's graded by one of the 3 big grading companies, this is roughly, for 2 grams of gold, this is going around $600+. And this is because it's a collector,
Gotcha.
it's a collector coin, it's graded, and it has a limited mintage, and and all that stuff. So this is more on the collector side. And I just wanted to show everybody, this is an example of pre-33 gold. Okay, now what were we talking about? Let's get a little carried away there.
That's all right.
I found that interesting.
Yeah. So, as to kind of push back on Grit a little bit, he mentioned that the dollar, our currency now, which is called fiat, is backed by the full faith and guarantee of the United States government.
Army.
Yeah.
Military. Yeah.
Exactly. So you could go, what does it say on an actual dollar bill? Look, that this is legal tender and it may be used to settle debts, blah, 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 blah. So it's not backed by precious metals. It's only backed by your belief that your government will back it up.
So it's kind of like It's kind of like the original wise guy, Mr. Boulay. It's like, hey, you got a nice shop here. It would be a tragedy if anything happened. You should pay us protection money. What are you talking about? I've never had anything bad happen. Oops, smash. Oh, maybe you should pay us protection money. Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Hey, Benny, yeah, get the bat out.
Hey, Joey, bag of donuts. Come on.
I mean,
forget
yeah.
the pew-pew, get the cannolis.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
So,
yeah.
now it's in terms of an investment to kind of help, shore up your savings and kind of diversify your portfolio. In my opinion, precious metal is a great way to supplement, use whatever, whichever word you feel is right. But to augment what your current investments are to help save up a little bit. So, put everything in it. No, of course, I am not a financial advisor. Please seek, professional, help with this stuff. I'm just expressing my opinion. And of course, this is all mine and not a reflection of the Grid One Motorsports and the Unreasonable Man channel. Okay. Got the disclaimer out of the way.
So question about that, Mr. Boulay. All right.
Yes, sir.
For the uninitiated, for the novice, so to speak. When you purchase gold and it's not necessarily on your records, or do you have to have that portfolio to be taxed, or is the tax on it only realized when you go to sell it?
Yeah.
Is it like a tax? Is it like a tax haven, or is it yes to all three?
It depends on the situation. I know that's not a good answer, but
no, that's fine.
It really depends. I buy this stuff, I'm going to try to put it in percentages, say 70%. I buy it from online bullion dealers. And the key, okay, let me back up. The key to maybe answering your question is if you look up the laws, generally speaking, based on the state you're in, the limit is $10,000 purchase. Anything beyond that has to be declared to that 3-letter agency that starts with India. Hint, hint. So look up that law so you understand what that means. So any transactions below that is generally not reported, and it's 100% legal and all that jazz. It's just that's the cap. Stop the cap. Raise the cap. So all my transactions have been online bullion dealers. I usually only buy, no more than maybe 1 ounce or something like that because, spot price is pretty high right now. So, but online bullion dealers, face-to-face with somebody, your local coin shops, which I highly recommend you go meet the guys and gals behind the counter, develop that relationship with them. So, if somebody comes in and sells some stuff to them, they can give you a call. Hey, you're interested in blah, blah, blah. I just got some in, come on down. Maybe they'll give you a good price on that stuff. So definitely, if this is something you want to get into, find your local coin shops and get to know those folks and develop a relationship with them. And then also coin shows. Earlier this year, I went to the Big Giant Coin Show in Orlando, Florida. They have it twice a year. And then the big one is in January, and I'll be going there in the next month or so. And oh, wow, 660 plus tables of private and coin dealers and bullion dealers. So the sky's the limit, and when you're doing these personal transactions, it's between you and the other guy or gal. So now the flip side of it is, now if you're going to like I said, the key is that 10,000 mark. So you got, read the laws a little bit on it. A lot of the online bullion dealers, they actually have good, they have like little web pages where they actually talk about that, to help you better educate you and things like that. So, long story short, 10K.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I find it very fascinating, very interesting. And to the point that I asked earlier, you might have been in transition and maybe you did or didn't hear it. But when you got these people like podcasters, maybe perhaps someday yourself, if your channel gets large enough, and especially with what you're interested in, or Grid gets large enough, or mine, and we get approached by Noble Gold per se.
Yeah.
Again, this is not to disparage or to promote. This is just a thing. All right, we'll call it an Unreasonable Man Gold. Advertisement comes over and we get to read it. Now, if it's such, and I keep saying, if these things are such great investments, why would anyone let them go unless they mark them up so much that to realize any profit from it? To Grid's point earlier, if you buy it, you hang on to it for a really long period of time in order to get a return on your investment eventually. Is that what they must be marking it up so much that they're anticipating the value will increase in 2 or 3 decades? And there is a chance that that person might get desperate, have to resell it, put it back into the gold economy, and they can get it back for less than they sold it for, and thus buy low, sell high. Your thoughts on that?
Yes to everything.
I
I
mean,
know you're looking for specific answers.
Well,
but-
okay. So let me refine my thoughts on this. Would that make someone kind of a sucker?
I don't consider myself a sucker, but
No, but I
know.
mean, like, to buy noble gold so high that it would take decades for you to get an ROI. Would you not be better to try to do what you're saying? Build relationships with the local coins, coin or bartering, who knows what, and to try to get it when you can get it as low as possible. But like noble gold is probably the top of the game. They're going to maximize their profit. So when you're buying that, you're extending your range out even decades further before you're going to get an ROI on it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay. Noble Gold's like one of these big, like these commercials of companies.
Right.
Okay. That's what I was trying to think with Noble Gold. Gold is noble from the periodic table. So I was like, who's Noble Gold? What's Noble Gold? Okay.
Right, okay.
Yeah. You're talking about, if you're on these conservative networks, you'll see hey, move your IRA into precious metals. Okay.
That's exactly
this is my opinion, and I'm expressing it as an opinion. Please do your own due diligence. I don't like that stuff. Okay, because there's a saying that I go by, and a lot of people who are on the other side of the precious metal community agrees with this. The saying goes, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. Does that make sense?
What do you mean? Can you break that down a little more Barney style for me?
What am I doing?
Like, if you can't hold it in your hand.
Yeah,
right?
I'm physically holding my gold.
Oh, wait a minute. So you're saying that whole noble gold crap is just, you're like, you have a claim on something that you can't physically have?
No. What? Yeah. Now some of them, okay, and again, do your due diligence, folks. Now some of them, they actually, what they do is they take your whatever it is you're turning over to them, and I don't want to get into it, but you all know what we're talking about here. When you sign up with them and you turn over these funds to invest into I'm just going to say it, IRA, precious metal, portfolio. Some, depending on what they are, some will actually take that and actually buy physical gold and silver, but they have to put it in a vault on their property or their location or their business. So yes, they buy physical gold, but you do not hold it like I have here.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
And why I don't like that? One, here's the biggest thing. What happens if they go belly up? What happens if they get hit with a court order or heaven forbid they do something illegal and the IRS and the FBI is knocking on their door? Hey, we got a warrant. Guess what? All that's now confiscated and it's under the control of the government. You just lost all of it.
Yeah, you just made Grid flinch, man. He thought I saw him. He's reaching for his AR.
Yeah, I mean, not far from that.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So, and then the other side of it, from my understanding, is instead of buying physical gold and then holding it under their control, which I think is actually by law, they have to do that. I definitely do not know. Please back me up, folks, on that. But the other side of it is, instead of buying the actual physical gold, holding on to it, they actually go out and buy precious metals futures or stocks and bonds or something that's related to precious metal, like businesses like mining, the privately owned mints, for example, anything kind of related with precious metal futures. So
it's like speculating. It's like a speculator sitting in a river with a pan.
No, that's exactly it from my understanding. That's exactly it.
Thank you very much for answering these questions, man. I hope they're not too mundane and rudimentary.
Oh no, it's interesting for me. I just hope we didn't put the chat to sleep. But
nah, they're big people. They can.
Yeah. But no, I'm personal opinion again, do your due diligence, but I am opposed to any of those people you see on, the
Late night TV.
late night TV, these commercials you see on, and it's mostly like conservative networks or news outlets, things like that. Like I said, back to my mantra: if you can't hold it, you don't own it.
Okay, so let's expound on this, and everyone can refuse to answer. Obviously, no one's got a gun to anyone's head. So now, what is the ethics of you being in the business and I not being in the business, both reaching the same conclusion? It's a little shady. And if I were approached as a podcaster to go ahead and pimp this to my audience, would that show a disdain for my audience and a lack of care for my audience? Or should I just grab that bag and say, well, they should do their due diligence, buyer beware, caveat emptor, right? So now it's more of an ethical question.
Yeah,
like if I, for instance, get big enough where I get approached and I've made my feelings known about, and I'm in agreement with Mr. Boulay. I'm not quite sure where Grid lines up on this. I think it's shady, and I personally care more about my audience and not misleading them, being a good shepherd to them as much as I can, not knowingly mislead them and lie to them.
I agree with you 100%, because I just, my Christian ethics, I ain't the perfect person. I have my faults, and I know people don't like it when Christians say that, but I'm going to say, if you don't like it, well, don't touch my gold. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. As the kids say today, 100%. I would much rather my channel be sponsored by Tactical Soap from Grand Lake Soap Company. Hint, hint. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with that, because everything I just kind of went over about these, IRA investments in precious metal, there's people that do it, and that's great. Good for them. They'd sit down and do the research and measure their risk and all that jazz. Go for it. If that's your thing, just do your due diligence. But for me, no, I like how I'm doing it. I buy it 1 ounce at a time. I have a set schedule during the year. So every couple of months, I save up money, pull a little money from every paycheck, set it aside. And then once I build up enough to buy, 1 ounce or half an ounce or whatever tickles my fancy, bam, I buy it. Whether or not spot price is really high or really low, I buy it consistently, because over the long run, I will build up enough ounces so that down the road, if and when I decide to cash out, it will overall my ROI, which is really not 100% applicable to gold and silver, because of it is commodity that's traded. But long-term, vision on this down the road, yes, I might have bought this ounce at 27 spot, this one at 28 spot, or this one at 26 spot. Well, yeah, it averages out sort of, kind of. That's a different argument. But in the end, it all works out, because I know 10, 15, 20 years down the road, spot price will be higher than what it is now. But it won't be, $10,000 an ounce. And I'm exaggerating there. So it's, due diligence. It's a long-term investment thing. If you're going to flip it, that's on you, because that's a lot of work. And I tried that, and that's just too much work. I got better things to do with my time.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So
all right.
Yeah.
All right. That was that's interesting stuff. I always like it when we talk money, but the chat sometimes can be a little finicky about it. That's all right. The questions were asked and they have been answered. Guys, we're at the 2 hour 30 minute. Well, we're at 2:30. So I'm gonna, I got to get out of here at 3. So let's do some final thoughts and make some comments, and then we can burn up a half hour here really quickly, I think, and then I can go do what I need to do. I usually wait until we're 15 minutes out, but it seems like that we could probably create some issues. Actually, I do have a non-coin related question for Mr. Boulay.
Yes, sir.
And that is, how have you been watching it's kind of a coin question. Have you been watching what's been going on with Bitcoin?
It's funny you mentioned that. I've actually, yeah, it
Like
I don't know the
74K,
numbers,
isn't it?
but
It's like
it shot up.
74K.
No, it's over 100.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was 70K ish,
Mhm.
and then yeah, it's shot up, and I was just like, well, maybe I ought to look at cryptocurrency again. You know?
Yeah, well, Trump. Trump was at the Bitcoin or
It was.
the electronic currency, cryptocurrency convention here in Nashville, and some people that I was hanging out with actually got to hang out, got to meet him on the floor in a private session or whatever, and and they left feeling like Trump was, if not for, he is not against cryptocurrency. And so with Trump being elected, it absolutely, you had to know it was going to shoot up. It is at an all-time high, and and what's kind of crazy is if you had bought a coin for $50,000 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I think 3 weeks ago, you would have doubled your money today.
Yeah, it makes me sick.
Well,
Right.
hold on though. Let's unpack that for just a second, right?
Mhm.
I just demonstrated that within the last decade, if I would have spent $150 at Walmart per se,
Mhm.
I would be able to fill up most of my carriage and probably walk
Mhm.
out with 10 or 12 bags of groceries.
Mhm.
And as we've gotten closer to 2024, I'm lucky. I just spent like 150, 140 bucks yesterday, and I got like, I mean, I barely got anything, honestly. So
Yeah.
when you say that you would double your money, you're still basing it on the value of a fiat currency. So based on what is the value of
Well,
this currency?
yeah,
Is it
that's just what it's selling for today, right?
right? But
So
what I'm saying is, if the value of the dollar is worth less and less and less, and the exchange of it is in dollars, therefore it's going to seem like it's worth more because there's the same amount of that Bitcoin, but the dollar's value goes
sure,
down. Therefore, you get more.
that would
Does that
be
make sense?
that would be more applicable if it hadn't happened over such a short timeline.
Yeah, I mean, that's the surprising part, which leads me to believe that the petrodollar is about to go to the way of the dodo bird. BRICS is about to get installed, and this digital cryptocurrency is going to be the insulator in between, or is going to be the thing that takes over for the petrodollar. That's my speculation.
Mm,
The digital
there's too many issues with cryptocurrency.
Yeah, like if the electricity goes off, exactly.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, even beyond that, right? So, I mean, my personal feelings on cryptocurrency is that it's a great investment tool currently because people believe in it, and what people believe, it doesn't matter whether it's good or not. People believe in it, and therefore it gives it value. I would personally, I personally don't believe in cryptocurrency, and I don't believe that we're going to go to an electronic currency. So um, a lot of this is determined. It in theory is going to be determined based on the idea that the U.S. wants to go to a cashless society, and that's impossible for us to do.
I disagree.
You think so?
Well, if you go to the Federal Reserve's website in a couple of years ago, I can't remember, the
Mhm.
2020, 2019-ish, maybe.
Mhm.
I'll have
Sure.
the year wrong. But if you go to the Fed's website, they actually did a white paper study about how to implement the CBDC,
Mhm.
the central bank digital currency, which is what you're kind of hinting towards.
Mhm.
And they
No,
actually
that's
have
exactly what I'm talking about.
they have a road plan on how to implement it
Mhm.
within the United States. And
Right.
quite frankly, the CBDC scares the out of me.
Well, I think that's the problem with it, is it not only does it scare literally everyone, it also reduces our ability to trade in the world market. The reason we're able to trade in the world market is because we deal in US dollars. And if you can't deal in US dollars because they don't exist, then there's a problem. That's actually a problem. It's been a problem for a while. In that, have you ever listened to anyone talk about how they went to the bank and they have $1 million in the bank and they try and withdraw 250 grand and they can't do it?
Right. They don't have cash on hand.
They don't have. They have to order it. It can take a while. There's some forms to fill out. The government wants to know what you're doing with it, and so there's a couple of different things that if you want to go full conspiracy theorist, right?
Let's do it.
And just for the next like 10 minutes, we can do like full on conspiracy theorist. So the DEA has been tasked with confiscating cash anywhere they find it, including airports. So if I want to go out of the country and I put $10,000 in U.S. cash in my pocket or my wallet and put it in my and I go through security, the TSA will flag me to the DEA agents on site. The DEA agents will contact me, and they will make up an excuse, which they don't really need one, to search you. When they do, and they find any cash over about $5,000 seems to be kind of the breakover point. If they find more, if you have cash on you, they will seize your cash. It's called civil forfeiture, and they will take it away from you. Now, this is being used by people who want to promote a digital currency as a reason why a digital currency is better than paper currency or actual currency, because in theory, it can't be seized. The problem is that all digital currency leaves a digital footprint. So while they keep telling people that there's no way to know who has what Bitcoin, I believe that's a lie. Mm-hmm. I don't see any reason to believe that it cannot and is not tracked every single time you connect to a network of any kind. Because that's the same way my phone works. That's the same way your computer works. When you
wait, hold on, Greg. You mean that phone that you could take the actual battery out? You could take all the little, but it'll still track you. You mean that phone?
Yeah, the phone that when you literally walk into a place, it knows that you're there.
Advertisements. Yep.
And it not only does it know that you're there, but you're having, whatever you're doing, they know, and it knows what you're spending and how you're spending it. So the idea of the digital currency, as Mr. Boulay has intimated, it not only scares me. I personally don't think it's really possible for us in the world market. I 100% believe that New York City could go straight digital currency tomorrow
and operate. Well, is that why they're pushing us to these 15-minute cities in order to have a more localized? Go ahead. Thoughts on that? That's interesting.
That's the issue with the issue with the digital currency is the people who are voting for this and pushing it, they, for whatever reason, believe their own rhetoric that it can't be tracked, that it's totally secure, it can't be taxed, and all of this. And that's total horse crap. So
the other side of it, that's the biggest thing that scares me about the CBDC is that they can shut you off from your funds at a moment's notice, and there's not a dang on thing you can do about it. Well, and yes, they can track you. You know why? Because it all has to funnel through the Fed. If you go look at that white paper, it's on the Fed Reserve site.
Yeah,
it has a physical diagram that shows you how everything's routed. they have the ability to track your CBDC. So if you are on one of these naughties lists and you decide to go to your local Pew Pew store, hey, I want to get the latest G-Lock,
Nope.
the G-Lock 100.
Dear leader says no.
Yep. Hey, you're on one of our naughty lists. Sorry, you can't, practice your, 2 alpha rights.
Bingo.
Now, is that conspiracy thinking? Maybe, but
That's what I would do if I was trying to control things.
I argue it's a logical concept, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because all it does is one little flick of the stroke, and guess what? You're cut off from all your money.
Yeah. Well, that currently can exist. That actually so when was it? I want to say it was 2019. No, 2018. So a friend of mine who had shut down his business in California for several years, thought all of his taxes were paid, everything. He gets a letter one day from the it's the something tax and responsibilities board or something like that. They have a weird name for it. And franchise tax board, bureau, whatever. So he gets a letter saying, hey, you owe us X amount, and we have removed it from your account. And not only did they remove it, since he didn't actually have enough, they locked his account. He could get no money in. He could get no money out.
Didn't something similar happen to Joe Rogan when he went to Texas? They wanted to continue to tax him for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, California is really
all
bad about it. Well, because California has that franchise tax board, and
that's what you're talking about. Okay, that makes sense.
That's exactly what they're talking about, and they still. So I shut down my business in California in 2015. I still get letters asking me to pay my taxes. Every time I call and I talk to every year I talk to the same guy at the same extension and tell him and remind him that there's no property there. It's a parking lot. There's no building for you to tax. I don't own it anymore. I haven't owned it in many years. It is a parking lot. He's like, he'll say, oh yeah, I drive by that all the time. It is a parking lot. I know it's a parking lot. And I ask him every year, why is it that you send me a fucking bill every year for taxes?
Here he comes.
On a parking lot.
There ain't no kumbaya. You woke up the beast. You wanted it. You got it. Get him, Grid.
And I'm like, what the fuck, man? And he's like, yeah, I know. It's just the system. You're in the system. And for whatever reason, their system does not accept the fact that I shut my business down almost a decade ago. Actually, a decade ago. And it just doesn't accept it. And it doesn't believe me. And so it wants my money.
Yeah, don't get me started with California. They have, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, Grid, but if you live out of state like me, for example, say my company sends me to go work in California for whatever reason. If I work past 30 days, I have to pay state income on my salary. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah. For the days that you're there.
Yeah. That's BS. Is there any other state?
They will literally bill you for a day.
Yeah. That's nuts.
California is broke. That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
1 second, guys. I'm getting a phone call here.
That's all
Hello? Right. Yes, dear leader. You said Mr. Boulay and Grade 1 are on the naughty list today?
They are.
Yes, dear leader.
100%.
I will let them know that they need to correct their course of action.
Raging Tomato is back.
All right. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the conversation. I'll make it easier for you to transition, exit. Boulay, Mr. Boulay, it was a pleasure talking to you. Great as always.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And to the classy, it's not a chat, it's a chate. To the classy chate out there, I appreciate you, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. Have a good day.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and do the let's go ahead and get our final thoughts in, and we will move along. Is there anyone live that I should raid? Chat? Is there anybody out there that's worthy of a grid 1 raid?
Well, while we're looking that up, hey, Grid, thanks
Yes, sir.
for letting me come up on panel. I know it's been a
No
while.
worries, man.
And,
Yeah, it has. It's been a long time.
Yeah, and it's,
We've been
precious
busy.
metals can be kind of it's very dry, but it's it's an option for folks. And yes, I do have a channel about precious metals. I need to make content again. So if you have any ideas, I'm open to them. Please, your input would be greatly appreciated. You can reach out on I'm on the Discord as Mr. Boulay. My channel is Mr. Boulay Department Numismatics. I actually got some notes written down. I'm going to start a precious metal stacking collecting 101 video series, and I'm going to walk you through the steps and how I buy my precious metals and show you everything from budgeting to where I go, how to find the best price. And don't forget, folks, you need an exit strategy. So once you buy all this metal stuff, well, when are you going to cash it in? And if you are, how, where, what are you going to do to get it? Remember that 10K I was talking about, that 10K cap? You got to keep that in mind. So this is actually I'm being kind of inspired by your audience grid, this community, to actually create this series. Yes, there are other content creators that has stuff like this, but I think I can tailor mine to keep it simple, right? KISS, to keep it simple.
Excellent. So good deal.
I'm gonna work on that kind of series, and I think people will respond well. So thanks again for having me up. Generally specific. Thanks for the questions. I thought it was a great discussion. And by the way, Greg, I want to help you out with your celebration live stream, and I'm going to donate. I haven't figured out how many yet. Maybe 3, maybe more. 1 ounce silver coins of various, either from different mints or different styles or different themes. So I want to donate some silver coins for the cause, to give back to the community, because your community and the larger community, they've been really great about subscribing to my channel, which I haven't made new content in a while.
Yeah, I have to. I actually have quit telling people to go find your channel, because the last time I checked, you hadn't made a video in a while, and I knew you were busy, and I didn't want you to feel, But we'll fire it up again, man. We'll tell everybody go over and check you out.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So I'll talk to you more about those coins later. Just
hit me on Discord. We'll be good.
Yeah.
And
everything.
One final thing before we really wrap this up. Have you seen that they've leaned on the Fed to lower interest rates now that Trump is coming in? Because I'm assuming because they're trying to clean up before Daddy gets home.
It's funny you said that, because just as you started the show, the Fed chairman was actually on the air announcing to people that the Fed is going to lower interest rates.
Yeah,
it was happening just as you started the show.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
It doesn't surprise me.
Daddy's home. Got to clean that shit up.
Yeah. Well, duh. I mean, you're talking about people who's got their jobs on the line. The chairman. Yeah. So right. He's trying to play to the crowd. It has got nothing to do with economic policy or anything like that. It's just purely to stay there.
It's so interesting too. Yeah, it's so interesting. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that and once again, thank you, Mr. Boulay, for coming on and just hang out. We'll do the outro here in a few minutes. The Feds needs to raise interest rate. I think Anson Knowles is day drinking. Is Anson Knowles day drinking? He should not be day drinking.
No,
anyway,
he should not be.
I think that I do think that you're going to see a lot of changes over the next 6 weeks ish.
Yep.
Because Daddy's home.
Yep.
We all know what happens when Daddy's car hits the driveway. The shit stops.
Yeah, because
you get yourself in order, because nobody wants to be the target when Daddy walks through that door and shit's not right. So I look for the FBI to be releasing a lot of very interesting things, especially regarding Jan 6. I look for some tactical resignations to prevent being fired. It's going to be very interesting over the next few weeks because, as I said, Daddy's home and Daddy is pissed. He's had a bad day at work. It's been a long day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's going to be people trying to save their butt and their government pension, by the way.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking forward to the big orange man cleaning house with the help of Mr. Musk and RFK. And who's the Vivek?
Vivek, I think Vivek probably will get a cabinet spot somewhere.
I hope so. Yeah,
I see him in like a foreign, like maybe not Secretary of State, but as an ambassador or something.
Yeah, a big, like to the UN or like to some major power like Great Britain or France or Canada, or something. But to a major country for sure.
Yep. We just got to keep reminding the leftist every day that Daddy's home and they need to get their shit in order. Guys, we're gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna send you guys to Chaotic Truth, who is asking the important question today: should the Blatts get reparations from now that Daddy's home?
Oh boy!
And guys, so as always, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Be cool, wear glasses if you need them, and get off my lawn while you listen to this great little short of Andrew Wilson laughing his ass off so hard that he sighs when he comes back to the table.
Yeah, I just answered your question. Can you tell me what epistemology means?
Epistemology is the study of the epistles. I mean, you can. I told you that a husband and wife is supposed to be the representation of God and the church. He said he's a husband. I asked him if he sees himself as the embodiment of God, and he said no. That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what is the epistles?
The epistles are the apostles. Are you talking about the apostles?